This is what I think should happen to rapists. Even somebody who rapes a woman in a fur coat, if that ever happens. I think that his penis and his balls should be seared off with a cuticle remover, slowly. Then I think 2 skewers should be shoved into their eye sockets, dragged into another room. Then I think that their penis and their balls should be dipped in diarrhea and puke. They should be given the option of eating that, and then they can save their lives. And if they do eat it, then I want to take a gun and put it between their eyes and shoot them and said, I was just kidding. This is what I think should happen to rapists.
Every time somebody attacks me with outrageous accusations that I support and condone rape, I am more convinced that humans have the mental equivalency and reasoning skills of a turd. What in the hell is wrong with everybody? Rape? Are you serious? Have you lost your fucking minds? Listen, I'm definitely not a public relations specialist. I say things most people are afraid to say, tackling issues with vicious honesty and infallible logic, which is confusing to most people because most people only use fallible illogic. When are people going to realize that I work for the animals and the animals alone? I speak for them like I would want to be spoken for if I were in their position. I'm not out to win a popularity contest, and I'm definitely not afraid of offending people's precious little egos, which is also why I'm not afraid to say that I do not support pacifism 100% of the time. Now that's an entirely different topic from today's post, but I will be referring to a few essays that I wrote on that topic during today's video. And thank goodness that a few revolutionaries in the modern-day civil rights movement, like Rosa Parks, understood that pacifism wasn't the only way to conduct activism. Oh, you didn't know that on page 175 of her autobiography, My Story, Miss Parks said, "To this day, I am still not an absolute supporter of nonviolence in all situations." How about that? I need all of my supporters to start condemning the liars and deceivers who claim that I support rape because I wished it, and I repeat, wished it, upon men and women who actually support rape and murder by draping themselves in fur coats. Claiming that I support or condone rape is pure slander or libel, depending on your mode of communication. And since the truth is your only defense to slander or libel me, let's see if your case would hold up in a court of law. First, there's not one person on this planet, not even a rape victim, that is more anti-rape and anti-rapist than I am. In case the opening clip of this video from my 2013 interview with Israel's Kobe Maidan didn't prove that point already, which, by the way, quite ironically, the TV network edited out of the half-hour show because it was too verbally graphic and vigilante for TV. Here's another clip from that interview that didn't wind up on the cutting room floor.
And people that wear furs should be raped.
Listen, I certainly don't wish that they hit the lottery. I don't wish that bags of money fall from the sky and boxes of lollipops land in their laps. I wish evil things happen to evil people, but I want to be clear about this.
Yes.
I hope rapists get raped. I hope child molesters get raped. I hope all the evil people in the world have evil done upon them, so maybe they can, for the first time in their lives, understand what it means to be treated like nothing. I don't understand why my wishes are worse than people's actions. People that eat meat, dairy, and eggs, people that wear fur coats, that support vivisection, that do vivisection, are the most violent people on the planet.
I tell you why it's important, because maybe someone hears you right now and will take action which will be violent, which will be a murder, a killing.
Okay, 2 things. Do you know when I made that statement? 1997. Okay, it's been 16 years and not one person has raped a woman in a fur coat because I wished it.
All right.
Okay, so let's not get into people taking my words that literally. It was my wish. It was my fantasy. And by the way, I also wrote 3 other lines about how rapists should be used in experiments, how rapists should be tortured and killed. How come people don't talk about those things that I say? Nobody disagrees with my position on violence. They just only disagree with who I propose to be violent for. See, everybody thinks it's okay to kill Nazis on behalf of Jews, okay to kill a white slave owner on behalf of a black slave. But nobody thinks it's okay to kill a chicken murderer on behalf of a chicken.
Here are 2 comments that I wrote in my More Problems with Pacifism essay, which is located in the Other Animal Issues section on my adapt.org website. Incidentally, the second quote is where the edited comment from the Kobe Maidan show originally came from. Rapists, murderers, and child molesters should be vivisected, executed, and dissected, allowing researchers the opportunity to gather useful information that would actually benefit human health for a change. I think rape is purely evil. I don't support it. Don't be stupid. Rape is the most evil act of violence that can ever be committed, which is why I wish it happens to evil people. I hope Nazis, KKK members, and domestic abusers get raped too. I certainly don't wish for bags of lollipops and money to fall from the sky and gently land in their laps. I honestly think every rapist should have his cock and balls sliced off with a cuticle remover while he's fully conscious. Then he should be forced to eat his severed genitals after they've been dipped in puke. After he takes the last bite, I personally want to be there to shove 2 12-inch metal skewers through his eyeballs and then drag him into a room filled with 10,000 flies so he can be eaten alive. Go rent the movie Law-Abiding Citizen and watch Gerard Butler's character carry out some poetic justice on the man who raped his wife and daughter. It warms my heart to no end. Now let's take a look at a 35-second clip from an interview that I conducted with Veggie Channel in Italy in 2012.
And I want to clarify this too about my wishes. My wishes don't come true. It's a wish of mine. I'm not asking anybody to do this. I hope that evil things happen to evil people. I'm sorry, I just can't bring it in my heart to have any empathy and love for evil people. I hope Nazis get raped. I hope child molesters get raped. I hope rapists get raped. I hope murderers get raped. I hope people that do evil things have evil things happen to them. And that's the whole point of my essay.
Now you might be wondering where and why did all this rape nonsense begin? In 1997, I authored an essay titled What's Wrong with Violence? It can be found on my website right before the More Problems with Pacifism essay. Virtually no one has ever read the entire essay, let alone the 2 paragraphs where I made reference to karmic rape retribution. 99% of the people who condemn me have only read an excerpt of an excerpt of an excerpt of an excerpt. It's now time to hear the entire 2 paragraphs in the hopes that maybe people will actually read the entire essay. Sometimes I think the only effective method of destroying speciesism would be for each uncaring human to be forced to live the life of a cow on a feedlot, or a monkey in a laboratory, or an elephant in the circus, or a bull in a rodeo, or a mink on a fur farm. Then people would be awakened from their soporific states and finally understand the horrors that are inflicted on the animal kingdom by the vilest species to ever roam this planet, the human animal. Deep down, I truly hope that oppression, torture, and murder return to each uncaring human tenfold. I hope that sons accidentally shoot their fathers on hunting excursions, while carnivores suffer heart attacks that kill them slowly. Every woman ensconced in fur should endure a rape so vicious that it scars them forever, while every man entrenched in fur should suffer an anal raping so horrific that they become disemboweled. Every rodeo cowboy and matador should be gored to death, while circus abusers are trampled by elephants and mauled by tigers. And lastly, may irony shine its esoteric head in the form of animal researchers catching debilitating diseases and painfully withering away because research dollars that could have been used to treat them was wasted on the barbaric, unscientific practice of vivisection. For the pacifists who now wish to condemn me for supporting capital punishment, let me expose your insanity a little more. When you fight for the lives of people on death row, you condemn even more innocent animals to a murderous demise. What do you think convicts in prison eat? Carrots and tofu? Or the dead, dismembered bodies of animals? And if you wish to use the trite argument about executing an innocent person 1% of the time, let me know when society condemns executing 150 billion innocent animals in the meat, dairy, and egg industries 100% of the time. As for the lame eye for an eye only makes the whole world blind comment, when was the last time there was a blind mass murderer? I'll take a blind, compassionate world or person over a seeing evil one any day of the week. Have pacifists become so in love with their ideals that they've forgotten who the real practitioners of violence are? I've harmed no one, while meat, dairy, and egg eaters pay people to rape animals to impregnate them, pay people to steal newborn babies from their mothers, and pay people to kill the babies and the mothers. I've harmed no one, while people who wear fur pay people to rape foxes via anal electrocution, rape chinchillas via vaginal electrocution, and break the necks of mink so that they can drape themselves in skin coats. But hey, I'm a reasonable guy who's willing to change his position on violence and make a deal with all the pacifists in the movement. When the rapists stop raping the animals, then I'll stop wishing or hoping that rapists get raped. What's more, anyone who condemns me for my rape comments is a pure hypocrite anyway. Because when child molesters are convicted and imprisoned, everyone says something like this: I can't wait until Bubba gets a hold of him in prison. And don't you dare deny it. What do you think Bubba's gonna do when their paths cross? Counsel him about his troubled childhood? Or forcibly penetrate his asshole? I hope this clarifies this issue once and for all. I didn't even want to address it again, but now that I'm on social media, I'm receiving way more emails about it than ever before. Vegan love to all my supporters who refuse to believe these psychotic, defamatory lies about me. And finally, to all the organizations and people who have attacked me claiming that I support rape, I hereby challenge you to top my anti-rape position. Go ahead. I dare you. What? Yeah, thought so. As usual, I win. Checkmate. You lose. Fuck you.
Hi, I'm Erika. If you've ever met me, you would probably label me a mellow, peaceful, tree-hugging, true hippie kind of girl. If you've never met Gary before and maybe saw this video or read some of his controversial essays, well, you'd either think that he has a right to defend himself and that he's logical, or you may think that he's crazy, a madman. He's lost his mind, he's hateful, he's angry, he's violent, who knows? But to take this one very small avenue of logic in this massive, critically thinking brain and use it as a tool to discredit him or not to share his activism, I feel is very close-minded and does the animals a great disservice. So if you didn't like this video, which is not a requirement, I'm hoping that maybe this can help you at least to understand his position and where he's coming from, because he's entitled to it, and we shouldn't be policing each other's thoughts. We should be listening and trying to understand. So that's what brings me here today. It was intense.
That's how I roll.
That's what I thought. Initially I thought, okay, so it's angry, it's intense, it's graphic. That's scary. What else is new, right? The repetition. You know, the first visual image was plenty to get your point across. You say it over and over again. Why?
Because I want to defend myself completely, wholeheartedly, and I want to make sure that I am found innocent of all charges. Again, this has been going on for around 18 years, the accusations that I would support rape, which is outrageous. And it's easy for other people to say that I shouldn't be this angry when they haven't been accused of supporting and condoning rape for 18 years. If you've lived in my shoes and done the things that I've done, you might feel the same way and want to defend yourself vigorously. And that's what I did. And I think at the end of this video, I am innocent of supporting rape, which was the charge that I wanted to destroy. And if you want to say that I'm crazy, that's fine. Just understand the difference between crazy and insane. All the revolutionaries throughout history were all crazy. Crazy enough to fight the system, to stand up in a court of law and not apologize for breaking the law, to go up against cops, judges, politicians, society in general. And if you want to say that, well, you still support violence, I've never denied that I support violence. If you want to challenge me on that, I would like to have a debate on that. I don't think you're going to win that debate by any stretch, and I think I've proven that case in the essays that I've asked people to read and the speeches and Q&A sessions and interviews that I hope people have seen. But that's something I don't mind defending myself against. When I realized that violence was an appropriate tactic, I realized I was going to have to defend that. I never imagined that I'd have to defend myself against supporting rape, which is completely, once again, outrageous. And the way I operate, I win. When I'm done debating, I win. At the end of this video, if anybody still says that I support rape, well, they're just a dickhead. And they have no cognizance and no capability of rational thought. When history is written, it will not be written that Gary Yourofsky condones or supports rape.
What about that it's over, my word is final kind of arrogance that can rub people the wrong way?
Don't care how it rubs people. I really don't. As you know better than anybody, I'm not here to be popular. I'm not here to win an election. I'm not setting up an office run next year or the year after. Never going into politics. Not showing up at the next Veg Fest either. Not showing up at the next Animal Rights Conference. I'm not trying to sell books or anything like that. And don't confuse confidence with arrogance. But I'll tell you what, if standing up for justice, for the oppressed, and refusing to bend on that position makes me arrogant, then I'm arrogant all day long.
How about, let's say, you were walking down an alleyway and you come across a man or a woman in a fur coat and they're being violated and raped?
I would beat the rapist to death with glee and with joy. For anybody who would think that I would sit there and watch because the woman in this scenario was wearing fur and was getting raped, of course I would stop the rape. That's what I do. That's why I exist. I exist to stop and or alleviate evil. Actually, I'm shocked that people can't understand where I'm coming from. Especially the vegans in this movement, who, by the way, are the ones that are really condemning me more than non-vegans. I've told you before, and I've told some close friends, I have way more enemies inside the animal rights movement than I do outside of it. The majority of all my professors over the years were not vegans. Never one semester did I have more vegan professors the non-vegan professors bring me in, and they all knew about my essays and still brought me in. Something that I've tried to explain to people over the years too, that after 2,660 lectures, 186 schools in 30 states, if these professors constantly invited me into their classroom, and they did, why the hell should you care about what I say or how I choose to say it? I chose in 2002 to be a full-time lecturer for the animals, to lecture on veganism and veganism only. And if the professors were bringing me in and the students were listening and changing en masse, and they were, where does anybody get off making an opinion about how I operate? I mean, I look around, I observe, I see all these people talking about pacifism and love and hugs. How many people have you changed with all your peace and love and hugs and kisses? Because I will put up my record against anyone's record on this planet about converting the masses. And I've done it with truth, honesty, logic, harsh words. The truth is harsh. I've agitated people. I get under their skin. So the least I can do is get under their skin as they rip the skin off the animals and drape themselves in leather and fur, as they rip off the skins of other animals and consume their flesh. I don't mind aggravating people, agitating people. I think I said on one of those Israeli interviews that she said, "You're called a terrorist." What did you want people to call me? In a world full of hate, in a world full of speciesism, in a world that doesn't even acknowledge that animals have a right to be free, an inherent right to be free. What do you expect them to call me?
Sure. I didn't like Gary when I first met him, actually. He was blunt and brutally honest, and I'd never met anybody like that before, so I immediately put him in a category of being an asshole. Because if you're telling me something that may be true, but I don't want to hear it, you're kind of a dick, right? That's how we see people. So it took a while for me to understand him. And I think that it takes some time to get down to the complexities of Gary. But if you really know him like I do, and very few people do, he's really hysterical most of the time. He's completely loving and funny, and he's generous. He's very misunderstood. Once Gary explained himself to me, this is where I'm coming from, this is how I am, and I was open-minded enough to get to know him, I couldn't help but fall in love with him. He's a very lovable person, though it may not seem.
Do I baby talk around the house over or
It's
under
chronic.
90%
It's
of the
so
time?
chronic that it can be obnoxious that he baby talks to Doyle and I on a regular basis. And this is really who he is the majority of the time. His existence does not revolve around this one conclusion that he's come to in his mind, in his feelings towards activism and towards violence. It's just part of who he is. And if you know Gary and the influence that he has in this movement, you might think something like this will turn people off. I think that by seeing that he's real and honest and fearless should actually turn people on. Because that's what you're getting from a politician. Someone that tells you exactly what you want to hear, exactly when you want to hear it, and trying to win a popularity contest. The fact that you are the exact opposite of that, I think, is the reason why you're affecting so many people.
That's why my lectures work in rural America, in places where people think, oh, there's no way you can go to Winterville, North Carolina, or Akron, Ohio, or Corpus Christi, Texas, and be successful. Yet, time and time again, semester after semester, I've been successful there. My position on violence doesn't violate animals in any way. My positions are in no violation of animal rights whatsoever. When people understand that, you can think, well, I think it's a bad idea, but now you're thinking like a politician, and I really don't care. The reason why my talks are successful is because I'm honest and genuine. They know I'm not a politician when I step into a classroom. I'm not trying to sell them a book. And I just want to explain to people, and only my really close friends understand this, but I dig Malcolm X. You know this. In fact, Kenneth Williams, what's up, brother? Vegan bodybuilder. He once sat in on a lecture I was giving at UC Berkeley for a class. And during the Q&A, I had him say something. And after it was done, he turned to the class and said, listen to this man. He's the white Malcolm X. And, I mean, I was on cloud nine. I'm like, I pulled him aside after class. I said, did you know that I adore Malcolm X's activism? How he operates? He said, I didn't know that, but that's how you sound. So, yes, I dig Malcolm X. When you get militant Gary, you get X. My philosophers in life are actually comedians. George Carlin and Chris Rock. I dig them more than anything when it's time to be sarcastically truthful and push the limits. George Carlin's got a bit where he makes fun of kids. And he says, well, he's not going to attack kids, is he? Yes, he is. He's going to attack kids because the world's got a child fetish. The whole world's got to revolve around children. You know what I say? Fuck the children. Look it up online. It's an hysterical bit. And you think George Carlin really means that? Fuck the children? He's making a sarcastically truthful joke. So you also got to take my stuff with a grain of salt, too.
Yeah, how about that quote from the piece that you're more against rape than a rape victim?
Well, that's actually probably true, as you can hear my descriptions. Now, I do think there's probably a lot of rape victims that do feel the same way, that will hear what I have to say.
Especially if they're animal rights.
Especially if they're animal rights. Hey, listen, 1 in 4 women have been molested. Those are the stats. So I know most women dig what I have to say about rapists and how they should be vivisected, executed, and dissected. Okay, but I'm just not afraid to speak my mind, and that freaks people out. That I am never afraid to say what's on my mind. No matter how much it might freak you out, freak society out, doesn't freak me out, I'm going to say it. I think the world sucks for a lot of reasons, and one of the main things is because nobody wants to talk about the truth. Especially when we're dealing with kids and they're growing up. We don't want to tell them where their food comes from. We want to tell them about Santa Claus and Easter bunnies and the Tooth Fairy. But don't tell them about what happens to mama cows on a dairy farm and how they're raped and their babies are stolen after birth and they cry for weeks for their babies to be given back to them. I am out to destroy lives. Tired of all the make-believe games that people want to play. Okay, but again, Chris Rock and George Carlin probably influenced me more than any revolutionary throughout history, with the exception of maybe Malcolm X. But they influenced me way more than Mandela and King and Gandhi and Thoreau and Pythagoras. Run down the list. I know about these people, read a little about these people. Of course, I dig anybody that fights for justice. But at the end of the day, I really consider myself more of a comedian, philosopher.